Get ready for another video in Alex's garage. Alright, so in my video where I rebuilt the brake calipers, I kind of breezed over the supply line here. This line goes, into the Brake Master, and I had intended to replace this, but didn't do it on the video, and so I'm doing it today. The trick with these is that you have to unscrew this bolt on the top first, and what that does, it gives you the ability to turn this tube. If you disconnect it at the caliper, you won't be able to spin it in order to get it off. So when you're removing it from the caliper spins, but when the caliper is installed and you just want to replace the wire, you have to, or the tube, you have to replace it on the back end here. So this is a pretty simple thing here. I just was being lazy when I did that video and I didn't want to cover it at the time, but here I am covering that. It comes off real easy, but just FYI, I don't know if you can see here, let me give you a little bit better look. It's a good thing that I decided to replace this, because if I can get it in here, this is seriously broken. Wouldn't want to put my life in the hands of that brake line. I don't know if you can see that. It's frayed all the way to the quick. So anyway, the other hose that I'm replacing today is the clutch slave hose. You see that right there. Let me see if I can get it focused. There we go. That clutch slave hose right there. The trick with that one is, again, it's somewhat like the other one. You have to disconnect it from the top before you can disconnect it from the slave. And in this case, what I wanted to show is, in order to take this thing off, if you're not rebuilding your whole car and you have the engine out, you have to take the distributor off and the starter, because otherwise you won't be able to gain access to that. And I guarantee you won't be able to disconnect this from underneath the car. It will be a real bear. As it is right now, I'm having difficulty getting that line to break free, so I've got some penetrating oil on there. I may put some heat on it later on to see if I can get that without stripping off that fitting. But that's the next thing I'm going to do today. And so FYI, replacing all the rubber means replacing all the hoses, not just seals and gaskets. And that's what I'm doing today. All right, so like I was saying, you can spin the hose on one end, but then you have to tighten it on the other. So make sure that you put it back onto the caliper first. Now you see that little copper washer right there? That although this is not a banjo fitting, it's very much like a banjo fitting in that copper washer needs to be able to squish a little bit as opposed to a regular washer. So make sure you clean it out. There's no dirt or grit on that, because it'll deform it. And what I like to do is just put it under a little heat to anneal it, and makes the copper a little bit softer, so that it can accept that torque when you torque it down. So here I am just tightening this thing down snug so that it has no twist in it, and then I'll put this up in there and then throw that nut on there. Alright, so finally getting to where I can put this fitting back on, and now I have to endure one of my least favorite tasks, is the wrench. I can only turn an eighth at a time, and you have to flip it over to get the next bit of threads. Now, I just bought a set of wrenches that make it so that you can just go, they have ratcheting wrenches, but this is a pipe fitting, so I can't use those. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you so you can enjoy my pain, how I have to move this just a little bit at a time. And these are the longest threads. the threads on this particular fitting. It's about a whole inch I need to travel in order to get this to tighten down. So if anybody's out there who knows about a special tool, well then, you know, if you start buying special tools for things like this, then you end up being that guy like a fisherman who spends all his money on tackle, and I don't want to be that. I want to just turn a wrench every now and then, but I'd like the wrench to be able to turn more than 20 degrees at a turn. But anyway, it's just me whining. Just wanted to share it with y'all. Alright, so this one had the same wear pattern. You can see the crack right here on the rubber. Right there. Now this is the end that goes into the mount on the A-frame. I would expect that it would flex more over here, but for some reason on both sides there was a crack in the rubber right up here, right near where it's mounted on the A-frame. So that might be a common wear point if you have older brake hoses. You might want to have a look at that just to inspect it and make sure you don't have the same wear pattern. All right, moving on. All right, there's the driver's side done. One thing I noticed while I'm in here, these bushings are in some bad shape. So later in the year, after I get the car running and we'll start rolling around on the street, we plan on replacing these springs. This is a rubber bumper conversion, and the rubber bumper had like 1.5 inches more ride height than the chrome bumpers, and as a result it sits a lot higher. Well, it looks kind of funny with the chrome bumper sitting up higher. It's not a four-wheel drive MG. So we're going to replace these springs, and when we do that, we'll take these lower control arms off and replace these bushings. I'm sure there's some other parts of the suspension that need some attention as well. So once we get to that point, stay tuned and make sure you subscribe so you can get the video when we do that.